It seems I need to actually make a video on this game because none of you guys watched the Kombat Kings podcast where we discussed the game for 3 hours after it came out. Sound off in the comments if you do listen to the podcast because you guys are the real heroes. I get to use that clip now because it's actually relevant to this game. The game's been out for a while now, and I think I've had enough time to let my feelings on the game settle in, and people who said it was unfair to criticise the game before the public launch have to find real arguments now. So this is the time to discuss Mortal 1 Kombat. Obviously I'll be producing a much more in-depth critique or analysis once all the game's content is out, as per usual, while this will be more short and simple. And yeah, that ambiguity on the type of long-form video is quite telling. First of all, the story. I actually quite like this one. The plot is nothing to write home about in a vacuum, but in the context of NetherRealm's usual outputs, and especially their most recent work, this is a marked improvement. I'd probably rank it just below Injustice 2 since that story's endgame issues are a lot more subjective than the objective issues this time. The plot is very basic, which is appreciated after all the timey-wimey crap from MK11. The characters get to have pathos and nice relationships. Even Reptile and Baraka have stuff going on this time. The brotherly bond of Kung Lao and Raiden is what Kung Lao and Liu Kang should have always had. And Johnny and Kenchi's ever-evolving dynamic is probably the story's highlight. I think it says a lot that Johnny is not far and away the best character this time. There are actually other contenders for once. The weakest links would be Raiden, who I feel is everything people who hate Liu Kang think he is, Nitara and Havoc, who get basically no exploration of their motives in the story, and the cameo characters who rarely get a line, if ever. And yeah, on the subject of Nitara, Megan Fox is terrible in the role. There's something about the way she delivers lines that feels different from the rest of the cast in a way that I can't quite put into words. Her performance is far and away the worst in the game, while everyone else does at least a passable job. I can't say if it's worse than Ronda Rousey in MK11, but at the very least Nitara has a very small role in the story, and there's no big emotional drama that hinges on her. I think Ronda at least did the battle cries, unlike Megan. The structure of the story is the same as prior entries, sadly, with the character chapters continuing to limit the character usefulness while also preventing us from using certain iconic aspects of the cast we do play as, like Kung Lao's hat and Kenchi's entire kit. But the story works up until the final swerve, which I feel would have been better saved for a sequel or at least the Invasions mode. And yeah, obviously I'm happy that Sindel is good again, there's just not much else to say there. I like that the arcade endings are supposed to be canonical and are setting up where the characters are going in the next game. That's especially useful for characters who won't be showing up next time, because it means we can at least get an idea of where they're going and what they're doing off screen while we're focusing on something else. And now for the Invasions mode. It's the new side mode where we tackle seasonal storylines to obtain themed recolors for the entire cast, effectively combining Combat League, Towers of Time and the Crypt into one mode. Unfortunately, the mode lacks the variety Towers had, since you enter a map based on one of the game's arenas, then work your way through the map fighting only in that arena, with even Shang Tsung's lab only using one of its associated arenas, and fighting only a handful of thematically appropriate opponents outside of the secret fights and ambushes that exist solely to pad out this already padded mode. Only a few of the skins are obtained through normal progression. You're basically fighting to earn the currency to buy the seasonal content on the last day before they switch over to the new season. Oh, and NetherRealm, can you knock it off with the super armor on every fucking fight? And remove the coughing fit and total darkness conditions? They're objectively unfun. And to make it worse, rewards are rare in this mode, mostly being normal character progression, and with those rewards being skins and gear for the one skin you can save with one gear slot, making for a customization system that's somehow worse than either previous attempt, it's really not worth it, even with some of the cool skins that have leaks for future updates. Both the customization and the Invasions mode need a serious restructuring. Let us save multiple loadouts of skins and gear, and add some variety and more frequent rewards for Invasions. Once again, NetherRealm puts massive emphasis on a system it does not want you to enjoy. The gameplay is fine, I have no major complaints. I feel that the new aerial combat doesn't come up much when fighting the AI, which seems to prefer ground combat, so I rarely ever see that component of the gameplay. The cameos are an okay idea, but I find them more intrusive than anything. At the very least, none of the playable cast should have been included as cameos to save room for characters who would actually be cameoing here. And there are a bunch of small details I like, but I can save those for the big video. Overall, I like the game, but there are some glaring issues that need to be addressed, and soon. I think most of the game's issues are easy fixes, as long as the company can fix its mindset. The grind is not fun. Invasions can offer rewards more often and have more variety in the stages and opponents per mesa. The ability to save multiple skins and gear combos can easily be implemented because even MK11 had that, and that version was dog shit. Intros can be turned on during towers and maybe invasions to not limit such a popular aspect of the games to one mode. They can fix the frame data and brutality input so that they're actually correct. These are all things that should have been realised in playtesting and been fixed long before early access released. But we're stuck with this borderline unfinished game as is for now. For once, the story isn't the biggest issue in a NetherRealm MK game. The part of the game that's hardest to fix doesn't need fixing. Everything else could be figured out and made good with updates. If they can pull that off, I may well be making a Deadly Alliance analysis on this game in a couple of years, and not an MK11 critique. I hope to be making that video when the time comes. And just because you might be content with mediocrity, random commenter who's mad I'm not exclusively giving praise, doesn't mean the rest of us have to be. I'm not the one who released a game with major aspects that don't work right, with broken subtitles, incorrect frame data, incorrect brutality inputs, major systems that are disincentivized inherently. They did it. The power to fix the game is in their hands. Let's see if they use it. If you liked this video, why not subscribe and support me on Patreon like these fine people here? If not, then make sure to share it with your enemies so they can suffer along with you. Today's recommended video is Mortal Kombat 1 Spoilers Suck, Kombat Kings number 30 by us, the titular Kings. We talked about the story and gameplay at length, and that's where my first impressions go now. Check it out.